Hey YouTube, Kim Brzezlik here. This would be part 4 of I just bought a Chinese mini lathe. And we kind of sold, talked about cutting tools in 3. And I kind of sold short the high-speed steel. So I wanted to go over the high-speed steel option. Something that I was really reluctant to use at first. Didn't have a lot of success. I ended up buying a grinder at Harbor Freight. It's an 8-inch, and it's about it's less than $80, probably $70 range. But it's fine for grinding high-speed steel. And some of these are part of a pre-ground set that I bought, and I basically turned them around and did my own grind on them. This one has a chip breaker built into it, which actually works really well. This is a chamfering tool. You can make any shape you want, and that's the beauty of it. Here's some boring bars, and this is a high-speed steel blank 5/16, and that's the way it comes. It already has some angles ground into it for you, and you can really unleash your creativity with grinding your own tools, and it is very inexpensive. I want to recap a couple things. On the back of the lathe here, we have the feed direction. You pull this handle out and go up for forward, down for reverse. What this does is it controls the direction that your screw is turning, which is right here, and that controls which way your carriage is going to travel when auto feed is selected. And then also we have high and low. You might have to actually move the chuck a little bit to get that to go into your gear, but it's not a problem. Just give it a little twist as you're selecting your range. I don't tend to use high range. There's obviously more torque in the low range, and there's also a couple items I missed that you're going to want to buy or have on hand, and one is a dial indicator with a mag stand, and that'll be for even though this is a 3-jaw self-adjusting chuck, I did use this to it's not really set up. I did use this to dial that piece of brass in. Just by tapping with that little hammer. Another thing you want to keep your eye out for is these stubby drill bits. There's a 4-inch scale there, so that gives you an idea. With the lack of travel you have on this bed, you need as short a drill bit as you can find. And I'm getting set up here for I just bought a mini lathe 5, and it's going to be a demonstration in boring. made a tap follower recently, and if you want to look at I'm So Easily Impressed, it's a 60-second video that demonstrates a hole that I bored, and I had a pin, and the fit was so good that you could feel air compressing as you push the pin in, and if you set it at the top, it just sucked it in, and when you pulled it out, it plopped. So satisfying. I've been hesitant to try to repeat that for fear that I will fail, but there's nothing to do but to do it. Okay, back to measuring tools. You got your dial indicator. I think this one might be I don't know, I got some from Little Machine Shop, and I got one from Harbor Freight, and I think about $14 for the ladder, and maybe $25 range for the Little Machine Shop. And the other thing you want to pick up is a micrometer, and that's going to give you a much more precise measurement. And usually those come in sets of 3. That was a 1 inch. This would be a 2 and a 3. So, and one other vital tool is a scribing tool, and you'll want to go to R&R in the shop and pick yourself up one of these. And you'll use that when you're laying out with die-cam. Just to give you a reference mark, you might use a magic marker and darken an area where you want to stop your cutting, and you would use that scribe to just scratch the ink off of the surface of the metal to give you a line to follow. Okay, I'll see you guys in episode 5, and we will be boring a hole in that brass with this boring tool, and we will succeed in having a suction fit, let's call it. I just made that up. Alright guys, love you. I'll see you on, I just bought a mini lathe, part 5.